Okay. Can you guys see that we are now recording? Just give me a thumbs up. Awesome. Thanks for that. So maybe just a quick brief following up our last lesson. The last lesson which we had before we start this one, we covered compound interest. Guys, if you remember, that is what we did. We did financial maths, we covered compound interest, and we looked at compounding periods. We looked at something that is compounded monthly, something that is compounded quarterly, semi-annually, also known as biannually, and we also looked at compounding periods where they say the compound is annually. And if you remember, just an overview before we start today, on the last session, we said we have a very important formula as seen in rate, which is A equals P into 1 plus I divided by M, and all to the power of M times N. And we defined what the value of A is, which it is the total amount or final amount. P is the principal amount or the invested amount. I is the interest rate. M is the compounding period. It is very important that you get that right. And then we have N, which is the period in years. And we went over the compounding periods on the last lesson. We said when they say compounded monthly, the compounding period is 12. When they say compounded biannually, you should know that the compounding period is 2. Remember, the compounding period is the number that you always divide by, or which you always divide I by. So when they say biannually, you should know that is a 2. And when they say compounded every 2 months, we had a chat, guys. We said, how many 2 months are there in a year? A year is 12 months. So you will see that you have what? 6 2 months. So the compounding period becomes 6. We did it for 3 months. How many 3 months are there in a year? There's 4 3 months, which means whenever they say compounded every 3 months, our compounding period is 4. And when they say compounded quarterly, compounding period is 4, and so on and so on. That is what we covered last time. Then we started looking at problems which were allowing us to solve for the different quantities. In this one, question 1, we're looking for A. And I'll jump to question 2. Question 2, we're still looking for A. Question 3, if you observe carefully, we're looking for the interest. So I really advise that you go and rewatch the lesson. And question 4, question 5, and so on. We had a couple of questions which we did last time to make sure that we understand compound interest. And today, our focus is going to be on simple interest and depreciation. So maybe before I start presenting, do we have anyone who would like to tell us what is their understanding of simple interest and depreciation? Or what is simple interest and how does it differ from compound interest? Maybe let's start there. Any volunteer, guys? So my question is to you, what is simple interest? Before we get into the calculations. Anyone? And before you answer this question, let me go and show you what was my answer to the question, which was, what is compound interest? And look at what I said. Where did I answer that? I remember I did put that question. Look at what we said about compound interest on the last lesson. Beautiful, isn't it? We said compound interest is interest on interest. So when your interest is compounding, it means you are gaining interest on interest. So with this in mind, I need one of you to go and try and think around what is simple interest as a starting point. We are warming up. Any volunteer, guys? I see a hand from Tandega. You can go ahead. Okay, let me see. You can give it a short, Tandega. I see on the chat. I do have a response from Ayanda. Tandega, what do you say? So we have one answer. So we have an answer from Ayanda. And what they say is that simple interest, and I'll give many of you a chance. They say simple interest is interest on the original amount. Anyone else wants to give it a shot? I think it was Tandega. You can go ahead. What is your answer?
I think is the interest on an initial or principal sum of money.
Okay, let me quickly note that down. Give it a shot again. You said it is interest on.
Is the interest on an initial sum of money.
On the initial, let's call it investment. Okay, thanks for that. Anyone else in the meeting, guys, who feels like, I think I know what simple interest is? Just give it a shot. We are here to learn. So we got two answers. Ayanda is saying it is interest on the original amount. Tandega is saying it is interest on the initial investment. So they're saying the same thing slightly differently. Anyone else? Where are the guys here? Anyone else? No, Jabulo, what is simple interest in your understanding? Remember, there's no right and wrong answer. Think of it that way. Okay. So in the interest of time, I'm going to just let this slide. So the answer that these two learners gave, this is correct. And guess what? That is correct. So I'm happy with these answers. You guys are correct. So when they ask you, what is simple interest, Chomi? Or my guy, you should be able to answer and say, simple interest is interest on the original amount or on the amount which we invested. And then compound interest, it is interest on interest. That is how that investment works. But then, just like as we did with compound interest, we need to think carefully. When we speak of simple interest, we have a very important formula. And the nice thing is, it is less complicated compared to the one of compound interest. We don't need to worry about compounding periods. So for simple interest, we have A equals P into 1 plus I multiplied by N. And let's quickly sort this out by defining them. So A will be the total amount, which we will have at the bank at the end. And P will be, they usually call it the principal amount. Or others usually call it the invested amount. So I need you guys to keep your mics muted, okay? Unless you're asking a question. So that is what P is. And I, we define it when we're doing compound interest. It is the interest rate. And it is very important that we put in this term, guys, rate. And the reason why it's important is because on the last session, or the last financial math session, which was on compound interest, they then ask us a question to calculate the interest. And some of you confused interest and interest rate. I need you to go and rewatch that video if you missed that. And then N will be the period. And this period will be in years. Okay, this will be years. So this important formula of ours for simple interest, it is extremely easy, isn't it, guys? If you look carefully, there's no compounding period, so we should be smiling because we don't need to deal with M. So we don't need to worry about that because there's no compounding period. If you remember the previous session, we were worried, what is the compounding period? For simple interest, there's no compounding period, which means we become happy people. There's no compounding period because the interest is simple. So it means we guys, whenever we see simple interest problems, we should be cruising nicely. But how do we know that in this problem, we are supposed to use simple interest or compound interest? We need to ask that question. We are cruising here. Let's add a page. You see, I'm asking very important questions, guys, and you are welcome to clap for me. I appreciate that. So the question which we need to ask ourselves is, think of this way. Look at the question which I'm writing here. Remember, we're talking about simple interest. And my question is, how do we know if we should use so how do we know if we should use simple interest formula? I'll say simple or compound interest formula. This question, guys, is very important because when I'm looking at a finance problem, I should know whether I should use the formula for simple interest, which is this beautiful formula in gold. So gold is good, guys. Or I should use the one which we learned the other day. And the question to this, or the answer to this question is, it depends on the words. So the answer to this is, we are going to look for keywords. So when we are given our problem, we will look for keywords. So if in our statement, let's say I'm given a statement, what, wara, wara, and wara, and they give me this problem, and then I see somewhere they say compounded on my statement. So let's assume that this is our problem statement. And my problem statement is wara, which is the dots or the dashes. So if they say wara in blue and so on and so on and so on, but somewhere inside there we see something interesting. They put in the word compounded. So that there should tell us something. When we see compounded, my brain should say, aha, they are saying compounded. We have compounded interest. It means the formula I need to think of. We haven't dealt with annuities. Do not confuse those. I need to remember P into 1 plus I divided by M times N. On the statement, all what we look for is compounded, isn't it, guys? That's the keyword. So let's go and see for problems which are not compounded. So that is our keyword. Because remember, the question was, when do we use compound or simple? So let's go and deal with another problem statement. So this is problem statement 1. Let's go and deal with problem statement 2 before we start dealing with the problem. So let's look at problem statement number 2. So let's say I'm told a story, and our story is like this. So they say wara, what, and then they start talking about the interest, but they don't put in the word compound. Do any of you remember what word they put? I'll remind you. Somewhere in the statement, we see simple interest. Do you get the hang of it, guys? This is awesome. So once we see simple interest, this is the key word. It tells us what we should use, keyword. And once we see that simple interest, we know that, aha, the formula we use whenever we see simple interest is A equals P into 1 plus I, which is the interest, multiplied by N. Do you guys understand? So if I pull out a problem now, you should be able to tell me and say, sir, we should use the simple interest formula there. Because when I read this problem, I don't see compound. I see they say simple interest there. Do you guys understand that?
Yes, sir.
Awesome. Okay, let's jump now to problems because you now know which formula to use looking at the keywords because they will say calculate the amount after 5 years. But you need to look the fine text. Are they saying compounded or simple? Anyway, let's jump to some problems. So let's have a look at this easy problem. Sorry about that. Let's have a look at this one. So let's call it our question 1 of this lesson. So for this question 1, what we have is, and remember we said we do not worry about compounding periods when we are dealing with simple interest. So for this lesson, or for this problem, what we have is we have Luyanda. And Luyanda is investing, or let's say Luyanda invests 8,000 rands. Okay. And this 8,000 rands, they invested for, sorry, why did my pen change? Let me quickly fix that, guys. So Luyanda is investing 8,000 rands and they are doing this for 5 years. And the interest that they are getting is, it is at a simple interest rate it is at a simple interest rate of 11% PA. So they usually write PA, and PA, you guys should remember. If you don't, I'm going to remind you. What that means is per annum, which means per year. Okay. So that is the situation with Luyanda. And now Luyanda wants to know, because he wants to buy an iPhone after a couple of years. So what happens is here, Luyanda wants to know if his investment, I'll need you guys to think with me. Luyanda is investing here. He wants to know if his investment will be able to buy him an iPhone. An iPhone. And that iPhone will be costing at that time. He's looking to buy an iPhone, which will be 12,000 rand. So we need to assist Luyanda to calculate or figure out with this 8,000 that he's putting in the bank, after 5 years, will it be able to buy him an iPhone, which then will be 12,000? I'm not sure where he's going to get an iPhone of 12,000. He spoke to his friend. His friend said, I have a plug. I'm going to get the one with 3 cameras, 12,000, my guy. The only catch is the one camera doesn't work. But anyway, we need to answer Luyanda here, guys. Is he going to be able to get this iPhone, which is going to be 12,000 after 5 years? So we need to start understanding, because remember, you are the pure net, you are the smart friend. Okay, I see Ntsako, you have your camera on, just make sure it's off. So you are the smart friend who's doing pure math. So we need to help Luyanda and tell him that, hey, maybe you might not be able to afford it. In fact, maybe you might have 15,000. So you'll be able to buy an iPhone that has working cameras. Cameras shouldn't look like you are underwater. So the first thing which we should realize as smart friends is, are we dealing with compound interest or simple interest? Guys, anyone here, read the problem. Luyanda invests 8,000 and he's moneyed. for 5 years at a simple rate or interest rate, and that is 11%. So the key word here is simple. So once I see simple, I remember that my formula will be A equals P into 1 plus I times N. And I'm going to ask the question, guys, which is, what are we given here? Or maybe the first question, as always, is, what are we looking for? Anyone? We have A, we have P, we have I, we have N. What is it which we are looking for on this problem? What are we looking for? That was not good English. Yep.
A.
We are looking.
On point. What we are looking for, guys, is A. Thanks for that. That makes me to smile. So that is what we are looking for. Then the next question to you guys is, remember, we are starting together. The next question is, what do we have?
We have the
Remember, you
principal
always...
amount.
Yep, so you can give it to me. So we have what? What do we have here? We have P, we have I, we have N. You need to tell me. We have this and it is equal to that. What do we have?
We have the principal amount and it is equal to 8,000.
On point. So we have P, which will be 8,000.
And then we have I, which is equal to 11%.
11%. Take them all answers. What else is missing here?
We have N, which is equals to 5 years.
We are not playing here, guys. We are serious. So now we have A, we have the P, and we don't have A, but we have the P. There's the P. And as you can see, she correctly pointed out, we have the I and we have the N. I'm so happy. So if you look carefully, the only thing that doesn't have a color here is the A. So it means we're looking for that A. So that A will be, wherever we have P, we figured P is the investment. If you remember when I defined P, I said it is the investment amount. So P is 8,000. That is what Luanda has now, is budgeting for an iPhone. He must get it. Plus, the interest rate is 11%, multiplied by the number of years, which is 5. So can you guys give me what Luanda will be having in the bank after 5 years? Buitumelo, you can go ahead. You guys should have your calculator.
12,400.
Ooh! 12,400 and what? Where are the cents? They're not there. So 0, 0. Is that the case? Okay, it looks like. So the question, guys, is, are we getting the phone? Luyanda is asking you. He's your friend. He's doing maths lit. So he's asking you, are we getting the phone? What is your answer? Remember, you're the friend who's doing pure maths.
Yes.
Of course, because you went to your phone and said, oh, the bank is saying it's giving him what? Simple interest, 8,000. You do the calculation and then you say to him, look, friend, we're getting this phone, man. I'm not sure about 12,000, but we're definitely getting it. We will have 12,000 after 5 years. Then your friend will smile and say, wow, what a genius friend. And you'll say, of course, I'm doing pure maths. So Luyanda can afford that phone after 5 years, which is 12,000. So now let's have a look at our second question, guys. Luyanda is saying now, no. After 5 years, we'll be having the iPhone 21 Pro. What, we're on 16 now, 17 plus 5. Okay, 22. So let's have a look at question 2, guys. Okay, I see there's a lot of people who are laughing here. So what we now have, I'm happy that you are laughing. It means the maths is very nice. On question 2, we have another friend. Luyanda is happy with his phone. We have another friend who's called Buitumelo. So Buitumelo. So what is happening with Buitumelo? Buitumelo wants to have, she wants to have 23,000 rands after 5 years. That is the amount that she wants to have. And guess what? The bank offers Buitumelo an interest rate. So she is offered. She's offered a 12%, or she's offered a 12% interest rate, or let's call it simple interest. She's offered a 12% simple interest rate. That is the deal she's getting from the bank. And what she wants to know now, she knows what she wants after. Why did I not? I said after years. Let's put the years, guys. I missed something here. And I need you to think with me. So that is after 5 years. Let's still use 5 years, okay? So she wants to have that amount after 5 years. So the after should come here. My apologies. I'm so excited. That's why. So after 5 years. And she's offered a 12% simple interest rate. Now, what she wants to know is, to you, the pure maths friend, how much should I put in now to get that 23,000? How much should she invest? That is the question. And remember, you are the friend who's doing pure maths and you need to help her. Buitumelo, your friend, wants to have 23,000 after 5 years. She's offered a 12% simple interest rate. How much should she invest now so that she's going to have the 23,000 after 5 years? And remember, with that 23,000, she's focused. She wants her phone. She wants her iPhone 22 Pro. So you're just gonna, like, whatever it takes, I'm gonna make a plan. Maybe it will be 23,000 then. I'm gonna save now. The aim is to have iPhone 22 Pro 5 years later. How much do I put now in this bank? So let's go, guys, and figure this out because we are doing pure maths. They are not asking their friend who's not doing pure maths. Okay, so let's quickly have a look at what is going on. And the first question which we must ask ourselves, guys, is what are we looking for here? Because we can hear Buitumelo is telling us her story, but because we are smart, we need to understand what are we looking for. Anyone, guys?
We are looking for present value.
Awesome. Anyone else? So Blessing is saying we are looking for the present value. Anyone else? So I'll take that as answer number 1. We are saying we are looking for the present value. So the present value is known as P, and this is also known as the investment. This is the investment amount. Anyone else who's thinking otherwise?
Can
What are we looking
I-
for?
Can I rectify? We
Yeah.
are looking for the principal amount, not present value.
Okay. Yeah.
Same thing.
What is the
Is it the
difference
same?
between the two? What is the difference between the two? Okay, by principal amount, you mean P. And that is just the same as the invested amount. Okay, so just to come in there, we use the term present value for annuities. You remember that, Blessing?
Yes.
Yes, that's on point. So thank you for correcting that. It is not wrong, but it's more right when you use it when we are dealing with annuities. So your friend, you should say principal value, and they will say this one knows what they are saying. Okay, and that is correct.
Okay.
What we are looking for, guys, is the principal amount. So we need to look at our formula here because the compound interest formula also has principal amount. But when we look at the fine reading here, we look at the interest they are offered, and there is a keyword there, simple. So this means when they say simple, our mind should go and say A equals P into 1 plus I times N. That is what we need to think of whenever we see the term simple. So if you look at our problem, our A, which is the final amount, that is the final amount we want. We are happy we have it. So we have A. In fact, I'm giving this away now, but I'm going to ask this anyway. What do we have, guys? We have figured what we are looking for, but let's quickly write down what we have. Give it a shot. Anyone, quick. We should be active, guys. What do we have?
A.
What is the A?
23,000.
Point. 23,000. What else do we have, guys? Anyone else?
Interest.
Be quick. We should be active, guys.
We have
Yep.
N,
We have N, which is
the 5 years.
on point. 5 years. What else do we have, guys? Who's next?
We have I.
What is the I equal to?
12%.
12%. Awesome, you guys. So let's quickly have a look at our formula now. We know what we have and we are looking for P. So look at the magic which I'm going to do. So what we are trying to do is to solve for P. So we have A equals P into, or P multiplied by 1 plus I times N. So we're looking for P, guys, not P times that bracket. So what should we do here? What is the problem? When we're looking for P, we want P to be by itself. And we can see the problem is that bracket. What should we do with that bracket? Because we want P only. So whenever you don't want something, you divide by it, isn't it, guys? So we'll divide by 1 plus I times N. Because we only want the P to be left by itself, because that is what we are looking for. And what you do on the left, you always do on the right. Okay? So that will cancel and that will cancel. And you will see that what we are left with is A divided by 1 plus I times N, and this is equal to P. So this means that we can now find our P. So usually I prefer rearranging this and having P on the left-hand side. It feels more right when we have P on the left. So let's go ahead, guys. Please use your calculator. So for A, we have 23,000. We must tell Buitumelo that, girl, you better have this amount now. 12% multiplied by 5. Any volunteer, guys? What are we getting?
14,375.
Okay, let me see. P is 14,375. Did you say that?
Yes.
Comma what? 00.
There's no comma.
Okay, so 00 rands. So what do we say to our friend Buitumelo who wants an iPhone 16 Pro after 5 years? What do we tell her? What do we tell her, guys? What do we say to her? She tells us the situation. I want this phone, and we are smart. You do the calculation. So what should we say to her after finding this number? What does it mean even? Give it a shot, guys.
That's the amount that she must invest.
Yep, thanks for that. So we'll say to Buitumelo, look, you better have 14,375 now. If after 5 years you want 23,000. And she will say, oh, but I don't have it. And then you can't get your iPhone, sadly. But that is what we say to her, that in conclusion, she must invest that amount. So she must invest that amount there, which is 14,375 rands. That is the amount that she needs to make sure that she has. Do you guys understand? If you do, please give me a thumbs up. And if you don't, I need you to ask me a question. It is very important that we understand. So if you don't understand, I need you to raise your hand and tell me exactly what is confusing you. Okay, I see a hand from Ayanda. You can go ahead.
Sir,
Mm.
so if you didn't divide before substituting the amounts and you still got the same answer, will it be wrong?
No, it wouldn't be wrong. It would be right. So yes, you are doing well. Your answer will still be right even if you didn't divide first and do all of those things. Happy?
Yes, sir.
Okay, awesome. So I hope you guys understand this idea of simple interest. I see a hand from Tandega. You can go ahead, please. You can ask, just make sure that you are not muted. Let's check again and give it a shot.
Sir, can you please do other method for this problem?
Can I do?
Can you please do other method that I understood about?
The other method, what do you mean by other method?
Which I understood about that
Oh,
you
what?
do not. Yeah,
Okay. Okay, thanks for that. So let me show you what she was
because I
talking
don't.
about.
Okay,
Okay, so this is what she was talking about. Let's copy this here. So what she was saying was that she now knows what she has and she knows the formula she should use. So what she did was to substitute everything. So everything that she has, she's going to substitute. So if you look carefully, we have the A, which is 23,000. So she puts that 23,000 equals P into 1 plus 12% multiplied by 5. So I need you guys to go to your calculator and quickly help me to figure out what is that there, which is the number that is going to end up multiplying P.
1.6.
1.6. So we have 1.6 multiplied by P when we work out this portion, okay? So now when we look at this problem carefully, we are looking for P, not P multiplied by 1.6. So what do we need to do for us to get the P, guys? We want
We
the
have to
P
divide by 1.6.
on point. We need to
We have to
divide
divide by
1.6. Thanks for that. What we do on the left, we also do on the right-hand side, guys, so that these, they nicely cancel. So this 1.6 and that 1.6, they will cancel. So I need you guys to give me the answer. What is P, which is 23,000 divided by 1.6? What is the answer?
It's 14,375.
On point, 14,375, comma 00. Do you guys understand? You do, give me a thumbs up. And is this the approach which I believe did you take a similar approach?
Yes, sir.
Awesome. Okay, I see a hand from Lini. You can go ahead and ask. Or are you trying to give me a thumbs up there? Please go ahead and ask if you do have a question. Just click the unmute button. Okay, I'm not sure why you are unable to do so. But guys, simple interest is very easy. It cannot get complicated more than
So
this. Yes.
can I please ask the interest rates, aren't we supposed to like divide by 100?
Oh, no. So what happens is, let me give you an example. So 12% is the same as 12 divided by 100, isn't it? But on your calculator, some of these calculators have the option of you putting that percent sign. If you put the percent sign, you don't need to divide by 100. Does that make sense? Let me show you. Let me show you what I mean. So if, let's pop up our calculator here. Can you see my calculator, guys? Yep, you can. Okay, so let's quickly work out. Maybe let me take a problem where we're doing the calculation of A. I want to show you something. Okay, so you see here at the top of our screen, we did that calculation, 8,000 multiplied by, in bracket, 1 plus 11. My calculator has a percent option, and then I put in the 5. So I shouldn't have this in scientific notation. Okay, but if you look carefully, the answer which I get is 12,400. Okay, but if I don't want to use the percent, then what I need to do is to put in a fraction and then put it as 12 over 100. And the answer which we get is the same. Let me see. 1 plus, let me see, 12.8. Let's remove that and put in 12%. 12%. Yeah. So you see that we're getting the same answer.
Yes.
So why am I putting 12? But yeah, I hope you get the point. So it's 11. So 12,400. And then when I remove the percent, it means I need to put in the 11 divided by 100. So in your calculator, if you put in the percent, you don't need to divide by 100. If you divide by 100, after putting the percent, your answer will not be correct. Do you understand?
Yes, yeah, I understand.
Awesome. So these here are the same. So we are happy with them.
Yes,
Anyone
sir.
with it? Yep. Thanks for that. So maybe let's quickly have a look at question 3 and then we'll jump into depreciation because simple interest is really straightforward. So let's have a look at our question number 3. Let's have a look at question 3. So on question 3, what I need you to help me to figure out is what is the question and what is the problem. So what we have here is we have Nonjabulo. What she does is she invests 13,700. So she got the money from somewhere. And after, let's say not invest, but invested. She invested that. And then she got 22,000 rand back as the total amount. That is a story. And what is happening here is that when she was investing, she was offered an interest rate. She was offered 10.5% simple interest rate when she was doing the investment. Now, here's the question which we want to understand or which we want to figure out. How long did her investment stay? Or how long did she take to withdraw her investment? That is the question, guys. So Nonjabulo is putting, not is, but she put in the past 13,700 in the bank. And what she is now getting back this year is 22,000 rand as the total amount when she goes and checks her bank. And the interest that she was offered then was 10.5% simple interest rate. How long did she take to withdraw the money? Essentially, how many years did the money stay in the bank? That's another way of raising this question. So my first question is, what are we looking for? Which I've answered in part, but I'm going to give someone a chance to tell us. It's so weird. You answer a question, then you ask it. What are we looking for, guys?
We are looking for N.
Yeah. So let me put in how long here. I see I missed it. Ooh. So this English here is not making sure. Let me quickly rephrase that. And then we deal with the problem. So how long, let me put it simple, was the money in the bank? Maybe that is more clearer. So the short answer is we are looking for N, of which N is the number of years. And what do you guys notice from our problem here? It is a keyword. What is the keyword which we should be taking away that will inform the type of formula which we use?
Simple interest.
On point. So this here, simple interest, tells us that, oh, we are now going to use that formula A equals P into 1 plus I times N. We are not going to use the one which has the M and other things there because that one is for compound. The M is for compounding period, and we don't see any compound here. Okay. So what we are going to do here is to just sub what we have. So my question now next is, what do we have? I will need you guys to quickly list this. What do we have? Any volunteer? Read the statement. Give us what we have. What do we have, guys?
We have
We
A.
have A, which is 22,000. We have P, which is 13,700, and I, which is 10.5%.
So let's quickly put these up. So we have A, which is 22,000 rands, and we have P, which is 13,700. And you said, what else do we have?
We have I, which is 10.5%.
10.5%. So what we then have is, or we are going to go and substitute everything which we have so that we just find the unknown. So let's go ahead and plug in on our formula. So our A is 22,000. So I'm just going to write it as 22,000. So we're working with the same currency. And our P is 13,700. 1 plus our interest rate is 10.5%. And this is multiplied by N. So how are we going to go about solving for N, guys? Any suggestions here? So this problem has become a problem of solving for N. Anyone who wants to guide us, how do we solve for N here? Let's take it to the next page. Yep, that is correct. Ayanda. So the first thing that we need to do is to deal with this problem. Divide by, we want to remove, because what we are looking for is inside here. So we want to be able to remove whatever which comes before the bracket. So we need to divide by 13,700 and divide by 13,700. So this means that what we have will be our 22,000 over the 13,700, and this will be equal to 1 plus. So 10%, if you remember, guys, in percentages, that should be 0.105. So we'll have 0.105 N or times N. Is that correct? So 10% is 0.105. So what do we need to do next here? Remember, we are trying to solve for N. So what should I do next? Anyone? So I'm going to give it to you in the interest of time. There's two ways we can go
Okay.
about dealing with this. We can transpose the one. Yes.
Oh, I wanted to check to see the answer.
Oh, you have the answer already.
Yes.
Wow. Okay. Keep the answer for the end and let us quickly push. So we want to remove
No,
the one here. So, or you want to guide us or give us the final answer? For now, we need guidance. If you can guide us, please.
we're going to take one to the other side.
And then what are we going to have?
It will change the sign and become -1.
Okay. So we'll have that. And then -1. And on the other side, we have 0.105 multiplied by N. And then what from here?
Then we divide by 0.105.
So you saying what we should do is go and divide. Because we're looking for N, not N times anything, we should divide by 0.105. 105. And what we do on the
Yes.
left, we do on the right.
The right.
So 0.105. And on the left-hand side, on the right-hand side, these, they cancel. And what we are left with becomes n. What do we have on the other side? When you punch all of this on your calculator, guys, what do you get? Something that is very important is that the 1 is included at the top, like that. Yeah. What do you guys get?
5,7698. Or do we run
It
it
is
off?
n 5 point, give it to me in 2 decimal places.
Okay, let me put into decimal places. 5,77.
7, 7. So essentially, if you observe carefully, we have n equals 5.77 years. Wow. But at home, you have a young one. He's 5. He's saying, what is 5.77 years? I've never heard that. I thought I grow up, I'm 1, I'm 2, I'm 3, I'm 4, now I'm 5. And you are saying there's something called 5.77 years. What is that? And guess what? Some problems, guys, I think I explained it to you previously. They require us to present our answer, let's say in years, months, and days. So let's try and do that with this problem. Because when the 5-year-old is saying, can you explain to me what is 5.77 years? Can you explain that to a person? But let me ask you guys an easy one. What is 5.5 years? If you are telling a 5-year-old, and they say, what is the 0.5 there? What are you going to say to them? 5.5 years.
Yes.
It is 5 months.
Hmm.
5
So the
years and
point,
5 months.
Okay. So someone is saying it is 5 years and 5 months. Do we have anyone else who's saying something else? What
It
is
is
5.5 years?
5 years and 6 months.
So 5 years and 6 months. Interesting. Anyone else, guys? What is 5.5 years? Your 5-year-old sibling is asking the right questions. You need to be able to explain it. You can't say to them, bro, like, leave me alone. We can't. We need to be able to say to them, 5.5 years, young brother is 5 years. The 0.5 is the half, okay? So half a year is 6 months. So 5.5 years is 5 years, 6 months. But now, in a problem like this, you can't know what is 0.77. So here's what I want to remind you, which we covered on the last lesson, which is that our n is 5.77. This decimal here, that decimal, which is 0.77, we need to convert that to months because we know that this is 0.77 years, but we don't know what that means. So how do we get to months? How we get to months is we'll take that decimal from years. So this is actually 0.77 year. So we'll take that decimal and then multiply it by 12 because we know that in a year there's only 12 months. So what do you get, guys, when you multiply this?
9.24.
9.24. So essentially we have 9.24 months. But now when we look carefully, we have another decimal here. So essentially what this says is that I have a 0.24 month. So there's a month which is not complete here because I have 9 full months and something on the side. So I have a 0.24 month. So after a month, what comes after a month is a what, guys? is days, isn't it? What comes after a month is days, guys. So what we are going to do is take this 0.24. We know that this is a month, but we're not sure how many days because it's not a full month. So we'll use 30 days. On average, months have 30 days. There's months that have 31 days, others have 28, but we'll use 30 days. Any question? Right. You guys can multiply this and give me the answer. What do you get?
7.20. Okay.
Ooh, 7.20. So we have 7.20 days now. And I hope little bro is not like, what is 7.2 days now? I thought we have like 1 day, 2 day, and 3 days and 10 days. What is 7.2? You are the sibling who's doing pure maths. So you're supposed to know. Would you guys like to take it a step further? What comes after days? So it means what we have here, because we are dealing with days, it means we have 7 full days, but there's something left. So we have 0.2, we have a 0.2 day. So we know that for a day, what comes after a day is hours. So how many hours do we have in a day? 24. What do we get, guys? I like this exercise. Anyone?
4.8.
Oh, no. 4.8 hours. No, we are not going to go and push it, guys. We'll tell little sibling, look, we are tired. They said we can just stop at hours. So I'm just going to take this and make it 5 hours. Because now I'm going to go to minutes and he's looking at me. Then this thing is going to say whatever point minute. And then I need to go to seconds. And when I go to second, it says points. And then he's going to discover I don't know what comes after seconds. Yo. Anyway, we are just going to make this to be 5 hours, guys. I'm not sure what comes after seconds. Someone is going to say milliseconds, sir. And then what comes after milliseconds if you get a decimal place? Someone is going to say microseconds. And then little bro is looking, is like, okay, this one seems small. What comes after microseconds? And then now you don't know. And you start beating them. Anyway, I hope we don't do that. Okay, so let's quickly present our answer, guys. So it means our N will be 5 years. If they wanted us to do this 5 years, and look here, we have 9 months. So 5 years, 9 months. And then we have how many days? 7 days, guys. So we have 7 days. This is beautiful, isn't it? And then we have how many hours? We just chose to say, look, we are tired. Leave us alone. So we're going to say 5 hours. Just round that up. Because if we say 4.8 hours, it's going to be like, okay, what is 4.8 hours? I thought the clock was moving like from 2 p.m. like to 3 p.m. and a 5-year-old. I can imagine. But maybe the good question, guys, is when do we do this? This is very important. Do we always have to do this? The simple answer is no. Let me answer that. So about the N, what we need to do is we need to look at what we are told. So if they say they want our N in months and days, we do that. If they don't say anything, we leave it as a decimal. So we will leave our answer like this. So leave like this. If we are not told to go and make this to be about days and whatnot, do you guys understand? If they don't talk about months and days, months and so on. But if they say so, then we need to do the work. So I hope you guys understand. So you now know how to calculate the P value, the N value, and the interest. So now what I want to introduce to you, which we will carry on our next session, is something which we call depreciation. Guys, anyone wants to define depreciation for us? What do you understand of depreciation? And what are things that depreciate? Anyone, guys? Let me put a box, depreciation. So I need you guys to help me to understand the term. What is your understanding of the term depreciation? And what are things that you know which do depreciate? Anyone, guys?
Depreciation is when a quantity decreases by a percentage of the amount present.
Okay. So depreciation is when something depreciates or loses value. Thanks for that. I see an answer also from Ayanda. They are saying it is the decrease in the value of assets. Okay, so that is a good enough answer. So we should always ask ourselves, what is depreciation, or what is anything which we do for that matter? And you guys have answered. We can phrase it however way we want. We can, I'm going to say it is the reduction or the decrease in the value of something. Let's call it something. So what I want you guys to give me now is this here, examples of things that depreciate, meaning with time they lose value. So I'll need you to list them, guys. Things that depreciate. Anyone?
Car,
The value of the car.
house,
Okay, so I'll take them one by one. So examples of things that depreciate. So one of you
Car.
said a car. Anyone else? What do you know which depreciates?
house,
House. Okay, gonna note that down. House. What else? Anyone else?
Cell phone.
Cell phone. So your iPhone doesn't get more expensive with time, does it? Cell phone. That is why I'm gonna buy my iPhone when the price is now 99 rand. Anyway, I hope it will depreciate to that, but I doubt. Me, I'm relaxed. I'm waiting for the iPhone to be 99 rand. Then I'm gonna stock them a
To be
lot.
99
Anyway, guys. Anyway, what else?
A laptop.
Laptop. So in the maths lesson, they said a laptop loses value. When are they getting to be 34 rand? I think I can arrange 34 rand and buy it. Anyway, anything else, guys? So we'll use these in examples. I can't wait for laptops to be 34 rand. So I see a comment from Ayanda. They are saying, but a house does not lose value, sir. So I'm noting what you guys are telling me, and then we'll discuss, the fine details of this. Anyone else? Cannot be these 5 things, guys. Come on. What else loses value?
Microwave.
Microwave. Do you like microwave? Okay, so let's go ahead and put in microwave. Very interesting one. As long as it warms the food, we are happy. If it loses the warming, we are concerned. So Anyway, microwave. Maybe let anyone else want to give the last one, and we close.
Furniture.
Furniture. Do you know that there's furniture which sells more because it was used by other people? But anyway,
That doesn't count.
yeah. So if you think of let's think, for example, think of a chair that was in Mandela's house. You think it's cheap. It is expensive because he sat on it. Nice, isn't it? Yeah. But we can put furniture. Let's take let's take another example, guys. I can't wait. It's so important that I sit on a chair and it becomes expensive. A what? Can you give that a shot again? You said okay, I'm not sure, but I'll just look for something. Let's call it a speaker to just close this one. So these things, they lose value with time. The only thing that is a bit debatable is a house. And this depends on where you are at. So there's places where if you buy a house today, you can sell it at a more expensive amount later. But if the place goes horrible, let's say crime starts and people are shooting one another, that affects that area and the value of the houses, they drop. So, but let's leave houses for now. Let's remove them. This is debatable, but let's leave them out and maybe look at cars and, speakers and phones and other things. So the way in which things lose value is in two ways. So you should go to your friend and say things lose value in two ways. So let's call it that way. So we will say here things lose value in two ways. So you will see when you do your calculations that we are going to use two formulas. So the first way, there's a very important term. You will see them using the term reducing balance method. So the point here is that term reducing balance, and then we can put the method way here. And then what is the second one, guys, if you remember?
Straight line method.
Ooh, yep. It will lose value in a straight line method. So what we need to take away here, it is the keywords. So the keywords here are these ones. So straight line and reducing balance. Those there are keywords. So when we say straight line, what do we mean? Well, let's start by reducing balance method. So whenever they are saying something is losing its value or depreciating in a reducing balance method, what you should remember is this equation here. A equals P into 1 minus I all to the power of N. That is our reducing balance formula. Very important, guys. We smile to important things only. So this is an important formula. So once they say reducing balance, that is what we are going to use. And once they say straight line method, what we are going to use to calculate how our things are losing value. So how our things are losing value will be A equals P into 1 minus I times n. So if you look carefully, this wants to look like compound and simple interest. The most important thing is the minus. That minus there tells us that we are not gaining, we are losing now. We are going down. You guys understand that? Give me a thumbs up if you do. If you don't, please ask. And what we have here is still exactly the same thing. But the only difference is the terminology which we use. Okay, guys? So our A, we now need to refine this a bit. Maybe let me start with the I. It is easy. So the I here, we no longer say it is the interest rate because we are not gaining interest. Does that make sense? The I, we will call it a depreciation rate. Very important. So you must speak like you know the maths, guys, because you know it. So the I will call it the depreciation value. Sorry, what do I want to write? Depreciation rate. Yeah. So we cannot say wherever we see I, it is always the interest rate, guys. So this is the depreciation rate. Interest is giving the vibes that you're getting money and you're not here. Does it make sense? Why the I has changed? It is the depreciation value. The depreciation rate, not the interest rate. And then P. What is P, guys? Anyone wants to give it a shot? Okay.
Present value.
Yep. So P is the present value. And what is A?
Accumulated amount.
But why are we accumulating when something is losing? Why? So we're not accumulating. Do you see that? So A, we are going to, it's the final amount. We can call it that. Or we can call it the scrap value. Because as something is losing value, it's becoming scrap, isn't it? It is. So these are the terms that you need to be familiar with. When you see them speaking about scrap value, it means they are talking about depreciation. When they talk about present value and depreciation rate, you should be able to read along the lines, guys, and be able to solve these problems. So let me give you an example, maybe two of them before we close. Do you guys understand so far? If you do, give me a thumbs up. And if you don't, please ask the question. You should leave here when you go to school and say, I think I know what is going on there. You shouldn't sit in a session for 2 hours and leave confused. So please ask, guys. Let's quickly have a look at examples around depreciation. Tomorrow you should be teaching others depreciation. So let's go. So let's have a look at this question here. I'll call it question 4. And with question 4, we are asked a very easy question, which is the value of a motorcycle depreciates. So how did we guys forget a motorcycle? So it depreciates by 12% on a reducing balance method. And what else? So they tell us further that, that the motorcycle, in fact, you should be reading as I'm writing, is currently worth 45,000. So what we are required to do is, let's put it in red, is to calculate the value of the motorcycle. And this will come in very handy when we do annuities, guys. That is why you must follow from here. The value of the motorcycle after 5 years. So my question, guys, is what are we looking for here? Anyone?
Final amount.
Okay. So we are looking for A, of which we define as the final amount or the scrap value. And then now my question to you guys is, we have two formulas. So I explained to you here. We have the one that has an n on the exponent and the one that has n down. And you should make sure that you remember those properly. So this one, once they say that, it goes with this formula. And the other one, straight line, it goes with the other formula. So once they say straight line, this is the formula which we utilize. So when we look at our problem, you will see that they say the motorcycle depreciates by 12% on a reducing balance. So if you go to the previous page, you will see that we have reducing balance method. And we said whenever we see reducing balance method, we should think of a certain formula. So once we see them saying reducing balance, our brain should tell us something on the spot. And what it should tell us is that use A equals P into 1 minus I, and then put the N at the top. You guys understand? That is what our brain is supposed to say. When it sees reducing balance, it should tell us that we should use that formula. So we can go ahead now and apply it. And my question before we go there is, what do we have? We answered what we are looking for. We are sorted, but what do we have? Anyone?
We have the present value.
So what is it equal to?
30. 45,000.
On point, that present value is 45,000 rands. And what else do we have?
We have the
We have the depreciation rate.
On point. So don't say, guys, we have the interest rate. I is the depreciation rate, because this thing is depreciating. So don't make that mistake, okay? Which is 12%. What else do we have? Anyone else? I'll give it to you. We have N, which is the years, and that is 5 years. So we can go ahead and calculate our value of A, which will be, we have the formula already. So we have 45,000 into 1 minus our depreciation rate, which is 12 to the power of 5. What is the value, guys? So if this person wants to sell their scooter, motorbike after 5 years, how much are they going to get? And this is one of the ways that they calculate. That is why an older car is a bit cheaper now. It is because of the depreciation rate and the years accounting on it. Okay, what is the A, guys?
23,747,95.
23,700 and what?
47.
47,94.
94.
So what is this saying? This is saying that if your motorbike now, if you were given this deal, is worth 45,000, 5 years later, when you try and sell it, the market value of it will be 23,747 rands. Is that a good deal, guys? Maybe yes, maybe not. Yeah. So that is why your car is subjected to the same thing, the same calculation. You buy your car at 400,000 and then it depreciates at a certain percentage. After so many years, it would have lost its value. When you try and resell it, you will need to resell it lower. Okay, glad you guys understand. Let me give you the last question before we depart for the day. And I am happy of the progress that you guys are making and how much you are understanding. So let's have a look at this question 5. So for question 5, we are talking about a car. You guys will buy cars. So they tell us that a car worth 150,000 depreciates as always. But you see, the nice thing about cars is even though it depreciates, you can use it such that it makes off the money that it is depreciating by. But anyway, a car depreciates at a rate of 9%. And then now they use a very interesting term. They put in bracket simple interest. So meaning it is depreciating. Remember, when we say simple, all what we are talking about is linear. And remember, when something is linear, it is a straight line. So I just want to introduce you to that terminology. So let me put it down. So they say it is depreciating at a rate of 9%. They put in brackets simple interest per annum. And then now the question is, how much is the car worth after 5 years? So do we have any volunteer who wants to help us here? How much is the car worth after 5 years? Anyone? So maybe the easier question is, guys, what are we looking for? Any volunteer?
We're looking for a amount.
We are looking for
Final amount.
okay, so we're looking for A which is the final amount, or the scrap value, or the value of this car after 5 years. But let me call it scrap value. Because once it's no longer new, it is no longer new. So now the question is, guys, what do we have? Anyone?
We have the present value.
Present value P, which is what?
One-
150,000.
On point. 150,000. I see a hand from Zako. You can go ahead. Do you have a question or you want to answer?
So I have a question, sir. Is present value as the same as book value?
Yes.
Okay, sir.
And then what else do we have? Anyone else? Let's deal with this problem. We have our I, which is our depreciation rate, guys. It is 9%. And I'll give out the N. Which if you read the problem statement, you will see that it is 5 years. So now my question is, we know that we are dealing with depreciation. Depreciation here. A equals P into 1 minus I to the power of N versus, now you guys must tell me which one do I use here? 1 minus I N. So which one are we supposed to use here?
The second one.
The second one.
The
Second one.
One.
second one. Why the second one?
Because it is straight line and simple interest.
On point. So that is the one which we should use. So this one, no, we're not going to use it. So you guys should clap for yourself when you get these answers right, okay? It's something big. Normalize clapping. Clap for yourself. Blow your own horn. Anyway, let's quickly sort this one out. So we're looking for A. So we are going to have A equals 150,000. So you should be putting your calculator minus 9% multiplied by 5. What are we getting, guys?
82,500.
82,500.
Yeah, but then I think
82,000. 82,000 what?
500.
500.
500. Awesome. So what can we say to Mr. Uber? This guy is driving an Uber. He buys a car worth 150,000 now. They tell him this car is depreciating at 9%, Mr. Uber. And he wants to know, after 5 years, how much can I sell this car for? And we say, come here. We did pure maths. We are smart, apparently. I can calculate the value of your car after 5 years. And you tell him after 5 years, plus minus 82,000. And then they say, what a genius. And you say, thank you, I know. So maths is useful, guys, isn't it? I mean, look at this. You can go to someone and say, Bonje, is your car new? But that is not the right question. You don't ask people if their car is new. But anyway, assume it is. Then they say it is 150,000. You say, I can help you actually to maybe estimate how much your car is going to be worth after 5 years. And they say, you can do that. You say, yes, I did pure maths at school. So apparently people who do pure maths are smart. Then you say, let's assume a 12% depreciation rate. That is not good. It's a worst one, but let's assume that one. And then you pull out your calculator and you stand on the side, you punch in the numbers. And then you do that. So I see a question from Blessing. Maybe let me address that before we close. The question is, why don't we calculate interest amount? I'm not sure what your question is there, Blessing. Maybe you can just try and unmute and why don't we calculate interest amount? Yeah, give it a shot. What do you mean? Just try again. You seem to be cutting. Yeah, click the unmute button again. Yeah.
If you owe me 500,
Mm.
then I compare you 12% and
Yeah, I cannot hear you. Do we have anyone in the meeting who understands their question? If you do and you can use your mic, please ask it on their behalf. I'm not sure if I understand what their question is. Why don't we calculate the interest amount?
there is a pay a month that
Mm-hmm.
as we call it the interest amount.
Yeah, can you repeat that? Your network is now better. Just get closer to your phone, okay?
And the amount.
Yeah, your network is giving you a serious problem. So what I'm gonna do is maybe you should drop your question in the group. Is that okay? And then I can quickly have a look. So maybe make a quick VN on the group, and then I'm gonna try and answer you. Let me quickly go in the grade 12. Maybe you can try and drop a message there. Because your signal is breaking. So just drop us a VN if you are in the group, and I'll quickly listen to it. And while we wait for you, do we have anyone else, guys, who has questions? Are you happy? If you are happy, give me a thumbs up. If you are not happy, click unmute and tell me, where did I lose you? Okay, no, thanks for that. Guys, I see a lot of thumbs ups, which means we actually understand. And I'm happy. So I think if there's no further question, we can call today's session to an end. And what is going to happen is, I think the question from Blessing, maybe once I get it in the group, I will address it first thing in the next session. Okay, once I understand exactly what the question is. Okay, guys, let's call it a day. Make sure that tomorrow you do attend. I see a hand from Zako. You can go ahead. Do you have a question for me?
So it's I thought maybe Blessing was trying to ask for you to do an example when you're looking for depreciation rate. Like, I'm not sure.
Oh, so when we're looking for the depreciation rate, that is, you think that is what they meant?
Yes.
Okay, so that is actually easy. Let me quickly maybe give you a problem on that. Thanks for that. So let's make it question 6. And our question will be structured as follows. So what we have is, I think it was Blessing. So Blessing buys a car for 230,000. And what happens is the car is assessed. They assess the car. Yeah, assessed after 5 years. And its value, the value of the car, when they assess it, they find out that it is now 138,000 rands. Maybe let's make it 158,000 rands. And its value is, let's put in the is there so that we work this out. So the value which it is assessed, it is found that it is now valued 158,000. So what we are told is that the car is losing value or is depreciating. Let me take that down. So the car is depreciating at a straight line method. Now, the question becomes, what is the depreciation rate? Is this the kind of question you were looking for?
No. I will
Okay. Yeah.
type it in the group and send it.
Okay, no problem. So let's maybe work this out. That's okay. So what we should be picking up here is that what we are having is this is depreciating in a straight line method. So which means the formula that we need to use is P into 1 minus I times N. And what we are looking for, clearly from the problem, what is the depreciation rate? What we are looking for is I. So I'm just going to use some maths which we learned from grade 10 to quickly solve for I, and then I'm just going to plug the values at the end, okay? So others prefer plugging in the values, but I'm going to do it. So I realized that the first problem I need to get rid of is the P. So the P, when I divide on the left-hand side and on the right-hand side, this is going to cancel. Then now what I have is A divided by P. And this is 1 plus, sorry, this is 1 minus I times N. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to transpose this one to this side and transpose that to that side. So that what I have is I times N, and this will be 1 minus A divided by P. This is just some algebra. And what I'm looking for, I'm reminded that I'm looking for I, so I should divide by N and divide by N. So when we divide by N, this and that, they cancel, such that my I, the formula for I will always be 1 minus A divided by P, and all of this is divided by N. So I can just now plug in my values and obtain what that depreciation rate is. So I'm going to have 1 minus, our A is 158,000. So I need one of you to use your calculator. And then our P is 230,000. And all of this is divided by 5. Anyone who has their calculator, please give us what the depreciation rate is.
So should we leave it in like in percentage form or in like decimal and all those things?
You can give it in decimal, then we can convert it into percentage.
Total pressure or
Say it's 0.06.
It is 0 point. Can you repeat?
0.6.
0.6. So if you quickly convert this back into a percentage, what do you get? 6%, isn't it?
No, not 6%. It's 6.6 because if you use
So you're saying you're getting 6 comma
6. Say I got 6.26. That's what I got. Say
so it means you have a 2.6 here, like this.
yes, sir.
When you make your calculator to be 4 decimal places, then you are gonna
Yes.
get 6.26%. Okay, so that works. That becomes our depreciation rate, guys. And I hope you understand what we have done here. And I think the question from Blessing, I'll probably address it some other time. I do not see their question in the group. So if there's no further question, guys, let us call today's session to an end. And please make sure that tomorrow you do tune in and you share with your friends. Let's come and pass together. So did you guys understand what we were doing here today? I like the thumbs ups.
Yes.
Awesome. So I see many thumbs ups. Awesome, guys. Let's go and rest. You will get the notes soon. Cheers and thanks for attending. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Wow.